So hello everyone, this is your Krishna from Women Today YouTube channel. So in this channel, we have been interviewing many women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India. We are traveling to different cities and we are doing offline interviews, and we are also doing online interviews across different cities and also across different countries in the world. So today's our guest is from Mumbai. Her name is Nandita Agnihotri, and she is a senior associate architect at Mandiyala Kutub and Associates. She has more than 17 years of experience in this department. I welcome you, Nandita Agnihotri ma'am, to this Women Today YouTube channel. So please kindly introduce about yourself, about the kind of professional work that you're doing to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to be here. Thanks for this opportunity. And I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nandita Agnihotri. I am an associate architect at MQA, Manviwala Kutub and Associates. I have about more than 17 years of experience, I would say. And initial 3 years of my career, I was working with Sanjay Puri Architects. And then onwards, I've been associated at MQA till today. So, yeah.
That's,
And yep, that's about myself, I would
yeah,
say, for
yeah,
now.
okay, that's great introduction, ma'am. And also tell us, ma'am. So in our early preschool days, will be if anybody tells us that we wanted to become an engineer, the first thing comes to our mind is being an architect. Someone who is building a building is called an engineer. That's big. That's like to 2 decades back during the early 90s. They'll be telling like, okay, you're an engineer, then means you'll be constructing buildings. That's what. So that's the ideology what kids used to have when someone refers to them as an engineer. So tell us, ma'am, at what point of time in your life did you decide that you wanted to become an architect? Is it like during the school days, or is it like someone just told you that you should enter into this field so you'll be earning some good revenue? So tell us about it, ma'am.
My story is a bit interesting, I would say, a bit different also from others. I have all the engineers in my family. My father being a mechanical engineer working for Air Force, like into HAL segment of it, where they designed Air Force planes, for India. I've been seeing all that all my childhood. My all my siblings have gone into engineering, but I was the only one. I knew that I don't want to do something like engineering sort of, but I wanted to go into a creative field. And that was my idea when I started from my 10th standard onwards, when I started checking out what are the courses I can go for, which is not engineering, but obviously more creative attempt to it. So that's when I came to know about architecture and I opted for it. Yeah.
That's once again kind of good inspiration for many people. So, of course, you had a very well educated family members who are in this department, being an engineer. So, I think that's the inspiration for you. I do understand now. So, now moving on to the design and architecture kind of questions. So, can you describe your design philosophy and your approach to architecture? Because each and everyone will be having their own kind of design philosophy. So, what is your approach towards architecture, ma'am?
So when it comes to architecture, I feel it comes from within. Whatever space you design, whatever space you are living in, it is not just a space what we are, just making it on the paper or on the board or whatever you call it. It has to be a space for a human or a person to live in. So it is always specific to the need of the place. So my designs, even if you see, they are all varying from each other. It is never a kind of, cookie cutter or a rubber stamp thing, because every design has its own implication. It's always design centric is what I go for, the approach when it comes to number one. And number two, the designs are always not only defined to the interior spaces. So I keep inside out approach, I would say it rather, wherein I keep the look and feel of the building in mind when I'm planning the inside spaces as well. It is not a afterthought which I give. So it is a form-based thing which I start getting in design. So it goes smoothly.
So it's basically like you're going to not only concentrate on the interiors, you're also making sure that, okay, what is going to happen in the future, you're just planning it previously, and you're making sure that, okay, even if you're working in the interior, you're making sure that how the exterior of the building will be actually. So, okay, I do understand
Correct.
now. That's a great approach. And also tell us more, what kind of projects do you actually enjoy working on? Because there will be a different kind of projects. Being an architect, there will be a lot of shapes that you can design, starting from the dome shape, starting to a multi-structural shape like Ambani's building. So that's great actually. And also, what can you explain some of your most notable projects that you would like to share with us, ma'am?
So, as I would say, I'm my project Bassinet has got most of the varieties of project when it comes to a residential, hotel, hospitals, schools, shopping malls, then your commercial spaces. Most of them I'm doing, even some religious buildings as well. Couple of buildings of mine have been awarded as well. Even I got the IGN 40 under 50 award for the same for one of my building which I designed in Dubai. That was the corporate office for Wokhart, which I had done. And apart from that, couple of religious building which are not a standard building. It's like a modern approach but with the religious terms to it, so which also got kind of appreciated at the World Architecture WAF, what we call World Architecture Festival, in the year of 2015 and 2016. We got those buildings being published over there as a shortlisted buildings. And yeah, I'm doing many projects, but I would say commercial buildings are the ones which majorly attracts me. I love to do those buildings because you are free to express your design. You have a freedom to approach to the usability, and when it comes to the facade also, you have lots of things to explore and do on those buildings. Yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm just getting to know more about yourself because you're a great architect, because it's very well proven that you have received a lot of awards in the recent last 1 decade. So that's why we are able to assess that you're a great architect. And also at the same time, tell us, ma'am, that while designing an architecture, as you told that you are fond of making commercial buildings, and it's very easy to you, so that you can just give your ideas instead of going some kind of projects. Even if you're giving some ideas, at the very end, the client will be making some kind of changes. So comparatively, the architecture kind of works that you do with commercial buildings, you can just give your own inputs on. I do understand. So also at the same time, when you're just constructing a kind of blueprint for a building, so you will always see thinking about the kind of aesthetics, the kind of art which you're going to put. And also at the same time, you have to make sure that it functions at the right time. I mean, it functions properly. So it's not like, what to say, we are always wanted to make a building look beautiful. And other than that, even if it's looking beautiful, the more thing, the next side is we want to make it too much functional. So consider, if we are not balancing it both, then it will be like, what to say, if the building will be beautiful, but there will be a lot of malfunctions. But if you're making it 100% functional and it's looking great, I mean, 100% functional, but it's not looking great, then also it will be like some kind of problems appearing. So how do you actually balance between aesthetics, and how do you make sure that the aesthetics come in contact with the functionality of the building now?
So here I would say every design has its own limitation when it comes to the space availability, then the requirement of the clients, to the, the functionality aspects, the climate, and so on. There are multiple factors which affect the design, which influence rather, I would say, the design. For example, recently I've made a school in Raipur. It's called, not exactly Raipur, I would say, it's in Rajnandgaon, which is close to Raipur, for Mahavir group, which we just finished the school. And the school was a plot which was obviously tight, wherein we had to fit in all the features, all the elements, including, some spaces where children can kind of meet each other, like, some spill outs, but the plot was very tight. Still, we tried to figure out ways, and we made a very interesting staircase that becomes like a heart of the project. So then you have to sometimes think out of the box and get into something which is like, an innovative solution. So we use the staircase, which is going to be used for function, but we made it as a piece of art. So it added another flavor to the design, and it became a center, the heart of the project, which is overlooking to the assembly area. And within the tight scenario, we managed to get everything.
That's once again a great project, because when you're designing for a school, it's something like you have to make sure that it appears aesthetics, and also at the same time it's too much professional. The kind of professional part, they expect it a lot. And also at the same time, when you're just doing a kind of design, you should be worried about the sustainability and the kind of environmental considerations which you have to make. Because consider you're going to build a building in Rajasthan, and consider you're going to build a building in Himachal. It's totally different because of the environmental
Yes,
conditions
it
over
is.
there. Rajasthan is something like you would have
Correct.
to deal with more heat, more summer, more sun dust, and some things like that. But when compared to Himachal, when you're going to north, so it's like too much. What to say? You can expect some kind of landslides. You can expect some kind of snowfall. It's too much winter over there. And what can you expect to build a building over there? So how do you actually balance these kind of things when it comes to sustainability and when it comes to a tough part in deciding how to make an aesthetic kind of approach in this kind of environmental considerations? So tell us, what are your experience and what are the challenges that you faced being an architect, man?
So I would say the buildings are always site centric. Where your site is located is very important because the environment, the surrounding plays a very crucial role when it comes to the orientation of the building in the plot, or it comes to the weather, the climate outside, what is going to be inside. Like I have done building in Dubai, I've done building in Mumbai, and I've also done building in northern parts of India also. So everywhere the climate is different, and we can't just do like the same thing everywhere. So we have to make sure, like when I did for Dubai, I had to cut down the harsh sunlight, yet giving it a feel. So we kind of use some perforations in it, we use some jalis in it. When it comes to Mumbai, we have a different climate. We have a very humid climate. So we have to again make sure the buildings, the even the materials which we are using on the buildings have to be supportive to the climate around. So there are multiple factors, and we have to be intelligently using those factors across while putting it all together and then coming out with a complete design solution.
Once again, I just wanted to ask, you have worked in India, in Dubai. So which projects do you consider most favorite, which is close to your heart? Is it like working in Dubai or is it like working in India? Which project do you want to make the most of your life?
That's a tricky question actually, because the approach is very different. When it comes to Dubai, it's more related to concept designing and getting things executed with the local architect or the local authority there, where obviously you are a part of it and you have to be there for each and everything. You are doing the peer review and you're completing the whole thing. When it comes to India, we have to be there completing all the construction documentation and most of the things as well. So the approach is very different. Your involvement is different. When it comes to the designing aspect, they have a certain set of rules which you have to follow, and you have to make sure that you have designed as per those parameters, and then you are fine with it. You can just complete and go ahead. In India, in every state, in every place, we have different set of rules. So we have to be, taking good care of those aspects as well. So it's a bit different, as I would say, both are very different in terms of designing. Um, but yeah, I would say now looking at the development, the kind of developments coming in India, we are also exploring and coming with real good designs and innovations in India.
So also being a senior associate architect for more than 17 years. So tell us your approach towards being a leader, being a team leader. What kind of approach do you do in this team leader? And also tell us how well do you approach your team members, because it's like the what to say, as you told, like we can either be rigid, too tough to our team members and get whatever kind of work that we want, or is it like we can just make them understand the kind of output we want? So tell us what is your approach and tell us your experience being working as a team leader in India and also as a senior associate architect team leader in Dubai, because in both of these countries there will be more people working under you. So tell us your experience working under these two leaderships in two different countries, man.
So I always feel the team works when you are, team word itself says it's a team. You can't be always just leading and giving instruction and getting your work done. I don't believe in that philosophy. When it comes to my team, I always let them approach their, innovations, come up up with their solutions. Yes, of course, I'm always there to guide them in the right way. But I don't bound my team to not think by themselves and come up with something new. I'm always open to new ideas. And I think that creates a kind of interest in the team itself. If you tell the person you have to just finish this work and then there's no attachment to it. But if you let the person get involved truly in it, that gives a little different kind of outcome also. And I mean, yeah, it gives you a different, uh, I would say, a product which is very innovative. Could have been something different of what you have thought. So that's how things get, we explore together. So I always feel the team has to be taken together and not just like giving instruction and taking them along with you in all your decisions. Obviously, to the extent where which is required, but yeah, let them open up and let them be a part of the work.
That's actually a great approach, ma'am, because you have told a simple idea that if you want your team members to work with the same wavelength that you are working in, you want to just make sure that you have just invested, you have just injected the interest which will make them work. I mean, like without any kind of stoppage. If once you create
Yeah,
any kind of interest, then it will start flowing the work, and it's basically like the same exact sentence which you use right now before decade before it must be around 2009 2008. My max teacher used to tell us the same kind of sentence. If you want a student to go and study a subject thoroughly, and if you want them to make sure that whatever mathematics that they're reading, they should just practice it. You can't go and tell them. You must make sure that they have interest in it. Once you made sure
yeah,
that you actually sparked an interest in themselves, then everything comes in flow. So that's a great
correct. And then it
that's
doesn't.
the yes, tell me, ma'am.
Yeah, and then I'm saying that it doesn't really matter whether you're working in India or you're working in Dubai, wherever. If the approach is like this, then everyone will, work together
Yeah, that's the
in a
good
collaborative way.
yeah, that's the good
Yes,
approach which we can expect from many people. Of course, people, if they do not want anybody to work in the team, they can just simply go and shout at them. But the thing is that if they really genuinely wanted to work, simple trick is make sure they have interest in the kind of work that they do, ma'am. So also being an
true.
architect, you should must have a proper strong communication with collaborating with your clients, your contractors, and your other stakeholders to bring all these projects to life. So tell us how well do you collaborate with your clients? What are the strategies do you use with your stakeholders and contractors and to bring all these kind of buildings to life, ma'am?
So yeah, when it comes to collaboration with the contractors, with the client and stuff on, obviously we have to make sure that the need or the requirements when it comes to client, it is being taken care and wherever necessary decisions are to be taken, I always make sure of getting them aligned to it. When it comes to contractor, also we have to understand the need and the challenges sometimes which they are facing and make sure that you give a design oriented solutions to them.
So also tell us, ma'am. So speaking about the mentorship, what kind of mentorship do you actually support to your junior team members in their profession? Because you are a senior and there must be a lot of team members. They may be like 10 to 15 years juniors to you. So at that point of time, what kind of mentorship do you want to have them work? And also tell us what kind of tips do you want to tell to your fellow senior associate architect so that they can also follow the same kind of mentorship towards the junior members, ma'am?
I always feel that one thing which, what is my philosophy when it comes to working is like easy go is everything you can do. But if there's something challenging coming to you, you should welcome it and you should put in all your efforts to turn that challenge into a solution. If you work with that philosophy, it will always take you high rather than finding, oh, okay, this is too tough or this is too complicated. Let's leave it and do something else. That's not going to make you grow. So I always feel if there is a challenge, that's more attraction. You should be attracted to work towards the challenge and find a solution to come out with something innovative, and that's how you grow. Rather than going easy way. Easy way is everyone going. Then what is the difference amongst the others and yourself? So that is what I feel.
So basically, you like to work with toughest challenges. I do accept it. And if everything comes easy, then it's not like a lively thing that is going to happen, because some or the other way we need some kind of struggles in order to prove ourselves. In sometimes where we need to show ourselves that we are capable, we are able to do it. We are the team leader. We can do it. So I do understand your approach thoroughly right now, ma'am. So now moving on to the technical part. So can you please describe your experience with building information modeling, that is BIM, or any other kind of design software? So tell us what's this actually building information modeling, and please explain us from the basic level, because most of us do not have any kind of idea about it. So tell us from the basic level what can we expect in this kind of software designs, and what is your experience in it now?
So when it comes to BIM, we are majorly using Revit as a software currently, which what we do nowadays is we are designing the building like a normal design what we used to do. Then we are coordinating with the consultants, and we are coming to a DD, what you call as a design development drawings, and then we try to model it in Revit. When it comes to modeling in Revit, you always design, you always model the architecture plus services plus RCC, everything. You model it. So you can see the clash detections in it. And before the drawing goes on site, you're able to solve it then and there, which earlier used to be a bit of a challenge sometimes when we were not using it and we were putting everything on imagination, and we used to be, making drawings, and sometimes on site you used to get some issues which you have to solve it then and there. But in case of this using the BIM and the Revit, I would say rather to be more precise, if you are using Revit kind of softwares, you can identify them beforehand and you can solve those points, and then you can develop your drawings could be more fruitful, and then much more faster. So that is how it works.
So it's basically like what to say. From our knowledge, we just see movies and we get inspired from it. So consider movies like Iron Man, where the hero Robert Downey, Tony Stark, will be building his Iron Man suit with the help of that software designs, that he will be making a 3D, not only a 3D but kind of 5D kind of things, where he is able to analyze what kind of outcome will it be able to generate, and if there is any kind of flaws, he can just figure it out and he can just put it out, and he can just make sure that there is no any kind of perforations or any kind of holes in his ideas. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
now I understand your approach towards this kind of designs, because in the earlier years, of course, they want to do everything in their own heads, but today everything, whatever designs that you wanted to show to clients even before you can just show them in this kind of software, and you can make sure that wherever any small kind of mistakes or any small kind of alteration works that you can do it very easy. I do understand it now. So also tell us,
It
ma'am.
also helps you
Yes.
understanding. It also helps you getting the quantities and those kind of things in place, like when you have to calculate the quantity on a project, like how much tile or how much paint or whatever. So it also helps you to evaluate those things on the paper itself
Yeah, of course. I
easily.
doubt. Yeah, it's basically the mathematics calculations. Even if one single kind of centimeter goes wrong, then there must be some kind of what to say. We don't want to say it as major kind of collateral damage which is caused by many members, but we can put it in the lighter way that okay, there is some kind of solution which we can get by just using this kind of software designs. So why not, let's try it. So now the use of software kind of things is the very best way. I do understand it, ma'am. So also tell us, how do you approach complex technical challenges or problem solving in your projects? Because as we see right now, speaking about, I think Ambani's building is called Antiala. Am I pronouncing it the right way, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Consider it's kind of a building, it's crores and crores of rupees spent over there. So working with this kind of complex buildings has very complex technical challenges to deal with. And how actually do you solve problems when you have this kind of errors which is happening in a multi-crore project? So tell us your approach. How do you actually deal with technical kind of issues, and how do you actually solve it, ma'am?
So yeah, as I'm saying, every building has its own challenge, and sometimes you find it at the earliest stage. Sometimes there are some complications or some site-related issues which we have to solve. So we have to keep our mind open to such things. We can't be bounded by no. We have designed it this way and we want it to be this way. If we go with that approach, it would be a little difficult for problem solving. So we should be always open-minded first thing, and then address the problem in a way to find the solution, which is again design oriented. You know, and yes, of course, there are multiple challenges at times, which we had also experienced in many projects. But then we kind of try to find a solution peacefully. If you find, I don't think anything is impossible. I feel you always come up with something which can solve the problem, also parallelly giving you another charm to the design, adding a little more charm to the design. Yeah.
So it's basically the open mind kind of mindset that we do want to have, that which will lead to many doors open. So that's a basic
Yes.
human mindset by which we can kind of solve every kind of major complicated technical issues. Okay, that's a great approach, ma'am. So also, what kind of building codes or regulatory requirements do you typically encounter, and how do you ensure compliance? So every building codes or regulatory requirements is something like which is what to say, it's a common setup which each and every building will be having. So tell us what kind of building codes or regulatory requirements do you actually typically encounter now?
So now, as I'm saying, every state has their different kind of rules, for the place which you are designing. So, like if I'm designing something in Lucknow or Kanpur, it's going to be different from what I'm doing in Mumbai, because we follow DCPR 2034 for Mumbai major areas. And then for the rest of the Maharashtra, we have the UDCR, which is in place now, in force now. If you go to Indore, it's a different set of rule. If you go to South Town, it's a different set of rule. Gujarat is a different set. So every place has their own specific set of norms which are there, in place. So when it comes to designing, obviously we first have to see which area, and then according to the norms and the bylaws of those areas, we try to design it in a way. We first frame all the, constraints in place, so that we know, this is our box in which what we can do. And that's how we start.
So it's basically the space that they're giving you. So what to say? Consider if you're going to each and every friend's house, the kind of limitations which we have, we should make sure that according to that specific limitations, we should make our work wonderful. So it's basically the same
Yes.
thing which we are following in this architect kind of things. Each and every state,
Yes.
of course, according to the regulatory requirements and every kind of building codes do vary a lot. Of course, we are in India, but each and every state acts accordingly because of the kind of government rules, because of the kind of history
Yes.
which each and every state do have. So I do accept that working within your limitations and making sure that you can just pull out the best out of it is the best, very best approach. Yeah, I do understand now. So also, can you share some of your technical innovations and solutions you have developed in your projects? Of course, because you're basically from a technical background, and also you must have more than 17 years of expertise in it. So there must be a lot of innovations, because being an architect right now, I think China is developing more than anything. If you consider before 2 decades, people they are moving to China, what they can expect is some kind of monk temple over there. But right now, China, there is a city called Chongqing, Shenzhen, what to say, Guangzhou. We can name it a lot of cities. It's in par with buildings in US, in Western countries. So there is a lot of technical advancements happening over right now in this world. So tell us, what are your side of, what is your contribution to this kind of technical innovations, and also tell us what kind of solutions do you feel that you have done it to your fullest potential, and you have solved every kind of projects. So tell us about it, ma'am.
So, as I'm saying, technical innovations are always, every day is a new learning, firstly, in this regard, because every day we are coming up with so many new additions, so many new technologies which are enhancing architecture, starting from the BIM, the building management system, to sustainability, to green buildings, so on, and the list is never ending. So, there are many things. Always, as I'm saying, the site centric approach is very important. So, where you are designing and what is applicable, we can't just be doing something which everyone is doing, we just have to do that, firstly. So, we have to be very much precise to the need of the project and what is good in regards to the project development. Then we should be able to come up with some solution or come up with the design which is very specific to that particular site. For example, I was doing a project where we designed everything like a normal building, and then one fine day we came to know okay, that we are not allowed to go for any basement. We'll not get any approval on the basement for some other reason. Okay. Now what? We had to accommodate the parking. We had no other solution than to not go for basement. So then eventually we carved out the design. We thought we put up lots of time and this and it. We come up with a solution where we thought, okay, let's do one thing. Let's take the lower ground approach and kind of, take the side roads down and get the basement open on the side. So it eventually not like a basement, it becomes like a lower ground. But we made sure that we get the parking and the fire engine can also run around the site and come out. So that's how we approach to it. Like, we have to again kind of work with the technical aspects, work with the technical limitations, but yet you can't compromise the functionality or the design of the building.
Now I understand, of course, you're kind of concentrating more about the functionality than the aesthetics. Of course, you'll be having more kind of aesthetics kind of view. Consider you're going to build a shopping mall and you're making the complete project. But at the end of the thing, you either you wanted to get an approval or there must be some kind of limitations in the kind of functionalities. But you are making sure that both these things want to work in the right way. Consider you are just making sure that there is no any kind of limitations, there is no any kind of drawbacks in the kind of design that you have designed your shopping malls. But as you said, if there is any small mistake that a fire engine can't enter the building properly, and if it can't exit, then the last thing, that is the approval part, will come to a stop, because they can't approve kind of shopping mall without a fire engine just entering it and exiting it without having any kind of obstacles over it. Now again, you should make a lot of things. There is a lot of restrictions which is circling you, and with these restrictions, you are just developing that building. Now I understand that you are just a pro in it. So that's why, because of a pro like you, can sustain in this kind of field for more than 17 years as a senior associate architect. I do understand, ma'am. There was a lot of knowledge which we had being an architect for past 17 years, and you have done wonderful jobs. So yeah, we have discussed a lot of questions in different departments. So now we are moving to the last segment, which is about professional development. So can you please describe your approach towards ongoing professional development and continuing education? So what's the perspective do you see in this kind of professional development and continuing education, ma'am?
That's a good question, actually. The thing is, in architecture, when it comes to every day with the practical knowledge, you gain something new, you learn something new. What we have done in architecture in college, and when we came to actual practical life, things were very different. When you actually start seeing things on site and start dealing with the practical aspects of it. But yes, knowledge is obviously, of course, a very important aspect when it comes to the overall development of a person. So I always feel we should be always, kind of putting in efforts to keep ourselves upgraded to things which are happening. As today we see so many technologies, so many different things are coming in. So we should always be trying to put in some effort to keep ourselves upgraded to the latest world around. Including the technology, the softwares, or the other aspects of designing, different systems of designing which are coming in. So that's equally important, and it is crucially a crucial factor, rather, I would say, to keep coming up with a very innovative and very latest design solutions. So it is very important to be upgraded.
Yeah, I do understand that earlier in my days, in my school days, teachers used to say that there is no any kind of limitations when it comes to education. Of course, you have to learn day by day. Education is something like which technical advancements come each and every day. Of course, if you are not kind of upgraded with yourself, you will be out of the, it's not about out of,
Correct.
if you want to be out of the box, then you should be like updated and you should not be within the box. So it's like
Correct.
basically like you
Correct.
should be always like keep upgrading yourself, because there's no any kind of things like this is a threshold for any kind of education in any kind of developments, because our advancements do happen each and every day. So tell us, ma'am, one final question for this interview is, via this interview, if you wanted to convey any kind of message to your junior team members, to your associate architects, or to any person in any department, maybe it may be to kids, it may be to a teenage person, it may be to a middle-aged person, or to a old-aged person, what kind of message via this interview would you like to convey to the audience for watching this interview right now, ma'am?
So I would like to tell everyone that you should never bound yourself when it comes to any sort of designing. So you should always be very expressive in the way you feel the design should be. And obviously, functionality is a very important aspect. So it has to be a blend of a functionality to the aesthetics and to be expressed in a right way with the right approach, and keeping all the requirements of the need of the project when it comes to client's brief or to site centric or to xyz other factors which rules out the regulation, the the environment, the climate, and everything. So we just have to be open, keep our vision open, and try to accept challenges, and then you will definitely come up with something very creative.
That's a great advice to your junior team members who are in this architectural department. So thank you once again, Nandita Agnihotri ma'am, for coming and joining this Women Today YouTube channel. So people who are watching this interview right now, please go click on the subscribe button. Please click on the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever I do post new videos regarding women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So today's your host is Krishna, hosting this Women Today YouTube channel, and today's our guest is from Mumbai. Her name is Nandita Agnihotri, a senior associate architect of Mandibala Kutub and Associates. So thank you once again, Nandita Agnihotri ma'am, for just allowing me to host this interview and have a wonderful conversation with you regarding this architecture department. So good evening, ma'am. Have a very nice day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.